So today we are diving deep into a claim that is so provocative, it almost sounds like a perfect excuse to just skip the gym.
Right?
Except this myth, it came directly from a self-proclaimed weight loss doctor.
And it's a big one. It's this idea that exercise is basically ineffective because your body is, well, it's a brilliant cheat.
Automatically compensates. That's the phrase.
Exactly. It suggests that if you run for, say, 60 minutes, you might actually burn fewer calories overall than if you only ran for 20.
Which sounds completely backwards.
It does. So our mission today is really a critical thinking exercise. We're going to investigate this whole idea of metabolic compensation and see if it actually holds up to the latest science.
And the story they use to sell this paradox is just, it's wild. This idea that the daily energy burn of a Hadza hunter-gatherer in Africa,
We're incredibly active.
is somehow the same as a person sitting at a desk all day in a New York office.
It just defies all intuition, doesn't it?
Yeah.
And to trace that idea, you have to go back to 2012 to a really influential paper that studied the Hadza people. The lead author, a guy named Herman Pontzer, he later popularized this as the exercise paradox.
And that's where he proposed this idea of a ceiling, a limit to how much energy we can burn.
Yes, that's the constrained model, right? The theory is that when you ramp up your physical activity, your body just compensates. It slows down other things to keep the total burn in check.
Other subconscious things.
Exactly. Things like NEAT, it's non-exercise activity thermogenesis. So fidgeting, maintaining posture, all those little movements you don't think about. The model suggests your body dials those down.
So the doctor who was promoting this myth was just citing that early concept as if it were a settled fact.
As if it were gospel.
Yeah.
No supporting data, just the concept.
Okay, but here's where it gets really interesting then. If that initial research was so compelling, how big of a reversal have we actually seen since then?
Oh, it's a significant one. The idea gained traction because, it was a neat, counterintuitive answer to a complex problem.
Sure.
But the science moved on. And by 2023, Pontzer himself had already started to shift his position.
The original researcher.
The original researcher. He noted that, yes, higher activity does increase your total energy expenditure, your T. Maybe just not in a perfect 1-to-1 ratio. So some compensation might occur.
Okay, so we need to be really clear for the listener here. Is the body turning down my internal furnace, my metabolism? Or is it just making me a bit lazier later in the day?
And that distinction is everything. It's the definitive debunking. The 2024 academic statement from the very same researchers.
What did it say?
It confirmed there is, and I'm quoting here, no evidence for metabolic adaptation. So your body is not permanently lowering your metabolic rate. If any compensation happens, it's probably behavioral. You might sit down a bit more or maybe subconsciously eat a little extra.
But your internal engine isn't being throttled back.
Not at all.
So that means the original evidence supporting this ceiling, this whole idea that running for an hour is the same as 20 minutes, it was based on flawed methodology.
Shaky would be a polite word for it. A lot of those initial findings, they relied heavily on correlations. And as we know, correlation doesn't prove causation.
Right.
If you look at the consensus now, especially a very recent observational study from 2025, it's clear. It found a positive linear relationship.
Meaning what exactly?
More activity equals more calories burned, period. The metabolic ceiling, as it was first proposed, is a myth.
So the big takeaway for you listening to this is that you should absolutely not believe the claim that running for 60 minutes just cancels itself out.
Definitely not.
That myth is false.
Yeah.
Your effort is not being betrayed by your body's engine.
In this whole story, it raises a really important question for you to think about. Initial scientific findings, especially the really provocative ones, they can grab headlines fast.
Oh, absolutely.
But science is a process of constant self-correction. So what happens when the original researcher actually reverses their conclusion after more rigorous studies come out?
That's a great point.
It means you should always seek out the most recent data when you're looking at health claims. Because yesterday's groundbreaking paradox can very quickly become today's historical anecdote.